Hey guys, tonight we are going to wander into a quiet world that might feel familiar and yet completely foreign. Your own bedroom, your own mind, but slightly upgraded. You probably won't survive this, but in a good way. Imagine this. The lights are dimmed just enough that shadows gather softly around your furniture, and your pillows seem to lean toward you like old friends who know your secrets. The hum of the fan in the corner whispers like a lullaby only your ears can pick up, steady and reassuring. You feel the cool of the sheet brushing against your skin, a subtle tickle along your arm, and you realize the night is yours for the taking. Before anything else, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, while you're at it, drop your location and the local time in the comments. It'll be our little constellation, scattered across the globe, sharing this quiet night together. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You settle into your bed, and your body immediately notices the difference between sitting upright for hours scrolling and lying down fully supported by your mattress. You sink slightly into the contours, and your limbs start to release their tension, almost in slow motion, like they're remembering what it feels like to simply exist without an agenda. It's remarkable, the way the body communicates when you actually give it attention. Your eyes, heavy yet curious, trace the edges of the room. Shadows stretch and curl across familiar furniture, casting them in a playful, almost mischievous light. There's a certain thrill in this observation. You are awake and noticing every tiny detail, but without any distraction vying for your attention. The creak of the floorboards outside your door punctuates the stillness, a sound you might usually overlook, and now it feels like a secret signal, a tiny announcement that you are, right now, fully present. You breathe in slowly, deeper than usual, as if drawing the night itself into your lungs. Your exhale carries the day with it, the stress, the notifications, the tiny compulsions you carried around like invisible weights. Scholars still argue whether this sort of mindful breathing actually triggers a cascade of physiological changes that prepare the body for sleep, but for you, it feels effective, and that's enough. The rhythm of your breath becomes a subtle metronome for your mind. Thoughts wander, sometimes brightly, sometimes lazily, but there's a comfort in letting them drift without judgment. You notice how the soft whir of the fan interacts with the occasional distant car horn or the murmur of neighbors returning home. Each sound is a note in a gentle nocturnal symphony, and you start to appreciate the way your senses sharpen when the usual glare of screens is removed from the equation. Even the air has a texture tonight. Maybe it's slightly cool against your cheek, or the faint scent of laundry detergent clings to your pillowcase. Oddly, this combination of sensory details that usually goes unnoticed now feels layered and intricate, like a secret code the world is whispering just to you. You wiggle your toes, feeling the soft sheet slide between them, a sensation so simple but strangely grounding. Your fingers graze the edge of the blanket, the tiny fibers tickling your skin. Every sensation reinforces a single, undeniable truth. This is your space, your moment, and the night has its own rhythm that doesn't need to be interrupted by glowing screens or buzzing notifications. Your mind, however, is a little restless, because it remembers habit more than tranquility. Usually, at this hour, you'd be scrolling through your phone, double tapping on pictures, swiping past memes, and letting your brain churn through a tiny but relentless storm of information. But tonight, there's nothing but this quiet. And at first, that absence feels oddly loud. You notice the tiny twitch of your eyelids, the pull of curiosity toward an imagined ping or vibration. You resist. You focus on your senses instead, letting your eyes linger on the curve of the lampshade, the way the curtains ripple when the night breeze brushes through the window. There's a strange, almost ancient satisfaction in this, a connection to how humans must have experienced evenings before electricity, before notifications, before digital lives. In fact, a historical tidbit floats into your mind. In medieval Europe, people often segmented their nights into two sleeps, first and second sleep, and would engage in quiet reflection, conversation, or even strolls between them. Somehow, you can feel a kinship with that rhythm, a reminder that you are not the first to wrestle with the delicate art of bedtime. Your ears perk up at a sound behind you. It's the faint rustle of sheets as you shift your body, seeking the perfect position, yet refusing to fully surrender to sleep just yet. There's a subtle thrill in this. Your environment is fully awake, and so are you, even as the promise of rest hovers nearby. You notice the way your heart beats a little slower, the cadence of your chest rising and falling with the fan's white noise as a soft partner in the rhythm of night. You start to pay attention to your own heartbeat, like a private metronome, an intimate reminder that you exist in this very moment. A quirky fact emerges unbidden. Did you know that some cats can purr at a frequency that promotes bone growth in humans? You chuckle softly at the thought. It's ridiculous and entirely irrelevant to your current situation, yet somehow it adds a layer of amusement to the night. It reminds you that small, odd details, just like tonight, can shift perspective if you let them. You imagine a cat curled up somewhere in the dark, vibrating softly, a tiny healer in the shadows, and the idea brings a small, private smile to your lips. Your thoughts drift further, weaving in and out of memories and observations. You remember a time when, after a long day, the quiet of night felt unbearable, and yet you somehow pushed through, craving distractions that didn't truly satisfy. Now, in this uninterrupted space, you can hear the contrast. The night doesn't demand anything from you, and that is its most generous gift. You run a mental checklist. Lights dimmed, fan on, pillow fluffed, sheets soft. Everything is precisely calibrated for comfort, yet nothing feels staged. It's natural. It's yours. And as your mind wanders, you start to notice the smallest elements, the shadow of your hand moving across the blanket, the faint shimmer of the window reflecting moonlight, the slight creak of the ceiling fan above. Sleep begins its quiet approach, not as a hammer but as a gentle tide rolling in, nudging you forward, offering an invitation that doesn't demand acceptance. You recognize that tonight's journey is not just about closing your eyes, but noticing the textures, sounds, and rhythms that surround you. You feel a little triumphant for resisting the usual distractions, for reclaiming your own attention, and for letting the world's digital demands recede into the background. You are present, fully present, and there is a subtle, satisfying power in that awareness. You reach for a small notebook tucked on your bedside table, something you might usually overlook. The act of touching it reminds you of something. Simple tools, once essential, can feel magical again when reintroduced without the noise of notifications. You run a finger along the spine and feel the paper beneath your palm. A thought occurs. Perhaps tonight, writing down fleeting ideas or reflections might be more satisfying than any digital scroll. Scholars still argue whether journaling before sleep improves memory consolidation, yet for you, it's a soothing ritual that connects past, present, and the hope of tomorrow. Your mind slows further as you close the notebook and let your hands rest lightly on the sheets. The shadows in the room deepen, the hum of the fan becomes steady enough to blend with your heartbeat, and the sensation of the mattress cradling your body grows more profound. You feel yourself teetering on the edge between wakefulness and sleep, a liminal space that's both thrilling and serene. It's a space humans have chased for millennia, a threshold of creativity, reflection, and calm, and tonight, you stand there, fully aware and ready. Finally, you allow yourself a small sigh, a release of tension accumulated over hours, days, or even weeks. You notice the little tug of your blankets, the comforting pressure along your shoulders, the way the darkness feels like a gentle hug. There's nothing urgent here. There's no buzzing screen or digital alarm. Only you, the room, the fan, the soft cadence of your breath, and the night stretching endlessly before you. And in this space, you recognize something essential. Sleep is not just a destination, it's a journey, one that begins with presence, attention, and the willingness to embrace quiet. The first step is complete. You are here, fully engaged with your body and your environment. The stage is set, the night is welcoming, and you are ready to explore the deeper rhythms and secrets that lie ahead. The adventure of noticing, feeling, and surrendering to night has begun, and it is far more satisfying than any screen could ever promise. You roll slightly to your side, feeling the mattress cradle you in just the right way. The quiet rhythm of your breath and the soft hum of the fan are the only companions you need right now, yet there's a strange comfort in ritual. Your bedroom, once just a place to collapse after long days, now becomes a theater of subtle sensations and gentle awareness. You notice the cool brush of your sheets against your arm, the slight scent of your pillowcase, and the faint echo of the ceiling fan against the walls. Every detail seems heightened. Without your phone demanding your attention, the room transforms from a background space into a rich sensory landscape. You decide to explore your own little bedtime rituals, the ones you've performed unconsciously for years but rarely thought about. Maybe it's fluffing your pillow 3 times, arranging your blankets in a particular fold, or letting your hair fall just so against the nape of your neck. These tiny actions feel more deliberate now, more intentional, like you're finally acknowledging the care your body deserves before sleep. Oddly, there's a kind of playful magic in these motions. You realize that this attention to detail, which might have seemed excessive before, now feels like a secret handshake with your own comfort. You adjust your blanket again and let your fingers trail along the edge of the mattress. There's a delicate tension in the fabric, a soft resistance that you hadn't noticed before. Scholars still argue whether tactile awareness at night, touching soft fabrics, feeling textures, actually primes your nervous system for better sleep, but for you, the sensation is undeniably calming. You feel a tiny shiver of satisfaction at the awareness of these small things. Your eyes scan the room once more, landing on the bookshelf. Normally, you'd ignore it in favor of a glowing screen, but tonight, the spines of books catch your attention like tiny beacons. You imagine pulling a book down and letting your fingers brush over the pages. There's something almost sacred about this motion, turning pages that have held the thoughts and creativity of someone else, feeling the paper between your fingers, inhaling the faint scent of ink and paper. Quirky as it sounds, some studies have suggested that the tactile act of reading from a physical book can slow cognitive activity in ways that scrolling on a screen never does. It's fascinating to think that humans have been performing these rituals for centuries, long before there were bright rectangles demanding their focus. You pause and consider your own habits. Usually, you reach for your phone almost immediately, and the first few minutes are a haze of unconscious scrolling. But tonight, without that crutch, you notice something. Your body is more aware, your mind more reflective, your senses more sensitive. The quiet is not boring, it's richly textured. You feel a small thrill at this realization. You are discovering a new way to interact with your environment, one that doesn't require notifications or pings. Your attention drifts to the soft glow of your bedside lamp. The light casts gentle shadows that dance on the walls as the fan moves the air. Oddly, you find yourself watching these shadows with curiosity. You realize that without the distraction of your phone, you are more tuned to subtle shifts in your environment, the way shadows curve around objects, the soft way light diffuses across surfaces. Scholars still debate whether low light exposure before bed helps synchronize your circadian rhythm or if it's just a placebo effect, but in this moment, it feels like your body is responding, preparing for the deeper stages of rest. You stretch slightly, feeling the familiar pull along your back and shoulders. It's not discomfort, it's just your body reminding you that it exists, that it wants care and acknowledgement. You notice the way the mattress shifts under your weight, how the sheets bunch softly, and how the pillow cradles the base of your skull. There's a rhythm here, one that you rarely pause to notice. The act of attending to it feels indulgent, almost mischievous. You are stealing this moment for yourself, a quiet rebellion against the relentless demands of daily life. As you settle back into the sheets, you think about the sensory landscape around you. The air has a weight tonight, slightly cool, slightly dry, carrying faint hints of fabric softener and night air drifting in through the window. Each inhalation fills your lungs fully, and each exhale releases tension accumulated over hours or even days. The simple act of breathing, something so mundane, becomes deeply meditative. You start to notice small details you'd normally overlook. The subtle shift of your blanket as you breathe, the distant sounds of life beyond your window, even the occasional twitch of your eyelashes. These small movements, these tiny acknowledgments of presence, create a sense of intimacy with yourself and your surroundings. You feel a quiet triumph in noticing these things. Normally, your attention would be scattered across dozens of apps, notifications, and fleeting digital messages. Now, your focus is entirely internal and environmental. You are attuned to the textures, the sounds, the shadows, and the quiet currents of air that move through your space. The ordinary is suddenly extraordinary. You pick up a small notebook, your fingers tracing the spine before opening it to a blank page. Writing in it feels different now, as though the act itself is amplified by the quiet focus you've cultivated. Scholars still argue whether journaling before bed improves memory or emotional processing, but for you, the act is undeniably grounding. You scribble a thought or two, observations about the room, tiny reflections on the day, or a note about how strange it feels to resist the usual pull of your phone. The paper absorbs your musings in a way that feels tactile, intimate, and oddly satisfying. Your eyes wander again, landing on a small figurine you've had for years. Perhaps it's a souvenir, or maybe just a trinket you never really paid attention to. Oddly, it seems alive tonight. Shadows cling to it differently, and for a moment, you feel as though it's sharing the room with you, silently acknowledging your presence. There's a playful magic in noticing these small objects in a way that you never have before. The fan's soft hum is a constant companion, weaving together the other sensory notes into a gentle symphony. You notice how its steady rhythm mirrors the quiet thrum of your heartbeat. It's not intrusive, it's soothing. The hum seems to synchronize with your body's own natural cadence, encouraging calm. Oddly, some people claim that white noise can mimic the sounds of the womb and help induce deep relaxation. While that may be debated, you can't deny its effect tonight. A calm that washes over you in waves, gentle but persistent. You notice your mind drifting further from the day's usual preoccupations. Without the pull of digital distraction, thoughts flow differently. They're slower, more reflective, less urgent. You recall a historical fact. Before modern electricity, humans often experienced what they called first sleep and second sleep, a biphasic pattern where night was segmented into reflective, wakeful hours and deep sleep hours. In a strange way, tonight you feel like you are participating in an ancient human rhythm, something timeless and grounding. Your awareness of the body, the environment, and the night continues to deepen. You feel the subtle tension in your shoulders dissolve further. You notice the slight prickling of your skin in response to the cool air. You hear distant nocturnal sounds. The rustle of leaves, a far-off dog bark, the soft movement of an unseen creature. Each sound is clear, distinct, and oddly satisfying in its purity. Without the constant hum of notifications, the night feels alive in a new way, intricate and layered. You shift slightly, adjusting your blankets to cradle yourself more fully. You marvel at the simplicity of it. You, a mattress, sheets, a pillow, and the night. No distractions, no glowing screens, no obligations. Just presence. It's almost rebellious in its minimalism, a quiet assertion that you can exist fully without constant stimulation. Oddly, your body seems to anticipate deeper rest, responding to the absence of digital light and noise. You notice your eyelids feel heavier, the muscles around your jaw releasing tension, and a faint warmth spreading through your chest as your breathing slows. The night, once a passive backdrop to scrolling and distractions, has become a participant in your relaxation. You are both observer and participant, entwined in a quiet ritual that feels both ancient and modern. You linger in this state, feeling a slow crescendo of awareness and calm. Your attention stretches across the room, across your body, across the faint hum of your own heartbeat. You recognize that this is not just a bedtime routine, it's a reclamation of focus, of sensory richness, of a more intimate connection to your own rhythms. You feel a quiet thrill at the realization that these small, deliberate acts, the fluffing of pillows, the adjustment of blankets, the tracing of textures, are profoundly satisfying when performed without distraction. Finally, you let yourself settle fully into the mattress, the blanket snug but not constricting, the pillow supporting the base of your skull perfectly. You are aware, calm, and attentive, yet teetering on the gentle edge of sleep. The rituals you've performed tonight, deliberate, small, intimate, have oriented your body and mind toward rest. The room is no longer just a bedroom, it's a sanctuary, a carefully curated environment for deep, intentional relaxation. You realize that sleep is not just a biological necessity, it's an art, a craft that unfolds in small, deliberate gestures. Your environment, your rituals, your awareness, and even the soft hum of your fan contribute to an experience that is richer, more nuanced, and deeply personal. And as you linger in this quiet, you feel a sense of satisfaction that is almost luxurious, a recognition that, without distractions, the simplest acts can be profoundly restorative. The night stretches ahead, inviting you to explore further, to embrace deeper relaxation, and to notice subtleties that are often drowned out by the buzz of modern life. You are ready to continue this journey, fully present, deeply attuned, and quietly triumphant in reclaiming your night. You stretch lazily, feeling the gentle tug of muscles that have been carrying your day around like unseen baggage. Your body notices every subtle shift as you adjust your position, the way your shoulders sink into the mattress and your spine finds its curve. It's remarkable how little attention we give to these sensations when our minds are tangled in screens and notifications. Tonight, you are fully present, attuned to the rhythms that your body has been quietly keeping all along. The air feels cooler against your skin now, the fans hum steady, comforting, almost like a soft chant marking the passage of time. Your body begins to whisper its secrets to you. You realize, in a way that's both startling and delightful, that your internal clock, the circadian rhythm, is orchestrating a quiet symphony of preparation for sleep. Your temperature dips slightly, subtly signaling your body that the night has arrived. Your melatonin levels are creeping upward, inviting drowsiness. You feel a gentle tug in your eyes, a natural heaviness that's hard to resist. Scholars still argue whether circadian rhythms are strictly biological or whether subtle environmental cues, like light exposure and even social schedules, play a larger role than we realize. Right now, you're witnessing this ancient dance firsthand. The room feels like it's breathing with you. Each inhale and exhale aligns you with the natural rhythms your ancestors might have experienced before electric lights blurred the edges of night and day. Oddly, there's a strange satisfaction in knowing that humans have been following these internal clocks for millennia, tuning their sleep and wakefulness to natural cycles. It's comforting to realize that even as technology attempts to hijack your attention, your body still holds these primal, precise patterns. You notice how small adjustments in your environment can amplify the signals your body is sending. The temperature of the room, the softness of your sheets, the gentle oscillation of the fan's breeze, all contribute to an awareness that sleep isn't just about shutting your eyes. It's a carefully orchestrated dialogue between your body, your environment, and your mind. You feel the faint warmth in your chest as your parasympathetic nervous system gently nudges your body toward rest. Each heartbeat is slower, more deliberate, and each breath deeper. You marvel at this, the subtle symphony of life that hums within you, so easy to overlook during the noisy day. Your eyelids grow heavier, but your mind remains alert in the way that only the night allows. You become aware of the small quirks of your own physiology, the flutter of an eyelid, the slight tingle in your fingers, the slow relaxation of your jaw. Oddly, you notice that your body responds to rhythm. Even in small doses. Perhaps a slow, deliberate stretch, or the mindful repositioning of your pillow, primes the body to respond to sleep's call more gracefully. Scholars still debate the optimal sequence of pre-sleep movements, but right now, you're discovering it empirically, one micro-adjustment at a time. The concept of light strikes you suddenly. Normally, your exposure to artificial light, your phone, overhead bulbs, even screens reflecting off walls, would have tricked your brain into thinking it's still daytime. But tonight, the dim, steady glow of your bedside lamp is the only light source, casting gentle shadows that ripple across the room as the fan moves the air. This low light primes your melatonin production without overwhelming your eyes. Oddly enough, there's historical precedent. Before the 20th century, humans relied on firelight or candlelight, and their evenings naturally aligned with their circadian rhythms. You can almost imagine the flickering shadows of past centuries, people preparing for rest just as you are now, each gesture echoing across time. As you settle into the mattress, you sense a subtle tug in your stomach. Your digestive system is winding down in preparation for the night, redirecting energy from daytime activity to restorative processes. This is part of your body's intricate sleep clock, one you rarely notice when distracted by late-night snacks or binge scrolling. Tonight, however, you are acutely aware. Your body is performing a symphony of preparation, and you are an attentive audience. The subtle twinge in your gut, the warmth in your hands, even the gentle pull in your legs, all of it is part of a quiet dialogue between mind and body. You notice a flicker of restlessness in your thoughts, the mind's last attempt to cling to wakefulness. It whispers reminders of unfinished tasks, fleeting worries, and half-remembered errands. You acknowledge them without judgment, allowing them to drift past like clouds in a slow-moving sky. The rhythm of your body, the slowing heart rate, the deepening breath, the gentle sway of your fan's hum, grounds you. Oddly, you feel a thrill in this small victory over mental clutter. To simply exist, to notice, to be present. Your senses sharpen in response to the absence of distraction. You hear the faint rustle of fabric as you shift slightly, the distant hum of a neighbor's air conditioner, the subtle echo of your own breathing. Each sound is distinct, a small miracle of perception that the brain often dulls with constant stimulation. Scholars still debate whether this heightened sensitivity is a result of reduced screen exposure or a natural consequence of mindful attention. Either way, it feels profound. You are tuned into the night as though it were a living, breathing companion. You notice that even your perception of time is shifting. Normally, the minutes and hours are dictated by clocks, notifications, and deadlines. Tonight, time feels more fluid, more intimate. You are able to feel the subtle arcs of the night, the gentle progression from wakeful alertness to drowsy awareness. The very act of noticing these temporal shifts seems to coax your body further along its natural rhythm. You feel a connection to the countless humans who have experienced similar transitions for thousands of years, their nights stretching into thoughtful, quiet stretches of preparation for sleep. You adjust your blankets again, tucking them snugly under your arms, feeling the soft resistance and warmth. The mattress seems to mold itself perfectly to your shape, a silent participant in this ritual. You imagine it as a partner in your nightly dance, supporting and aligning you for deep rest. Oddly, the small, almost imperceptible comfort of these adjustments feels like a luxury, a privilege you've rediscovered by stepping away from the constant buzz of screens. Your eyelids droop further, but your mind still wanders. You think about your body's core temperature, which naturally dips at night to promote sleep. You feel it subtly, a warmth in your chest and a slight coolness along your extremities. This biological rhythm is ancient, consistent, and reliable, yet so often ignored. You marvel at its precision, the way it works even when your attention is elsewhere, waiting patiently for you to tune in. You notice the faint prickling of your skin as your hair brushes against your cheek. Oddly, it makes you smile. These tiny, fleeting sensations, so easily overlooked during busy days, now take on a quiet richness. You feel fully alive in your awareness of them. Scholars still argue about the extent to which tactile awareness can influence sleep onset, but in your experience, it seems to matter. You feel grounded, calm, and oddly empowered by these micro-perceptions. A gentle curiosity creeps into your thoughts. You wonder what might happen if you continued to honor this rhythm nightly. Could small adjustments to light, temperature, and mindfulness consistently improve your sleep quality? You recall a mainstream historical fact. In the Victorian era, bedrooms were often decorated and arranged to maximize comfort, with attention to bedding, air circulation, and ambient light, an early recognition that environment deeply affects rest. Tonight, you are experimenting in your own room, unconsciously participating in a centuries-old human endeavor. Your body sighs softly as it moves further into preparation for rest. You feel your shoulders melt into the mattress, your hands resting lightly over your stomach, and your legs releasing tension. The fan's hum, the low light, and the subtle warmth of the sheets create a cocoon-like space. Oddly, you notice your awareness of your heartbeat, a slow, steady drum that seems to echo in the quiet room. It's intimate, grounding, and oddly reassuring. You reflect briefly on the elegance of your circadian rhythm. Its cues, light, temperature, behavioral signals, are subtle, yet they orchestrate your entire night. Your breathing slows in gentle waves, synchronized with your internal clock. Each inhalation and exhalation is a deliberate brushstroke painting your path toward rest. Scholars still argue whether humans are strictly diurnal or whether we carry latent flexibility in our rhythms, but right now, the evidence is clear: your body knows what to do if you simply pay attention. You roll slightly again, finding another small shift that eases the tension along your back. Each adjustment is minor, almost imperceptible, yet cumulatively, they coax your body closer to deep, restorative sleep. You marvel at the precision with which your nervous system responds to these gentle cues. The mattress, the sheets, the cool air, all combine to form a tactile symphony, guiding your body's internal clock toward its natural nighttime pattern. Finally, your mind softens. Thoughts slow, curiosity fades, and a gentle drowsiness spreads. You feel the deep satisfaction of aligning with your own biology, of participating consciously in the rhythms that have guided humans for millennia. Your body and environment are in harmony, a subtle duet of awareness, comfort, and rest. And as you lie there, attuned to these rhythms, you feel the first true whisper of sleep approaching. It's not sudden, not jarring, just a gentle pull toward the unknown edges of the night. You are ready to explore it, fully present, aware, and calm. This is the elegance of your sleep clock, the quiet beauty of your body's nocturnal wisdom. You surrender not out of necessity, but out of appreciation, for the subtle art of night, for the textures of your space, and for the simple, profound act of noticing yourself. You lie there a little longer, drifting in that soft twilight space between awareness and surrender, when it hits you, you haven't checked your phone in a while. Not minutes. Actual time. Your hand twitches slightly where it rests on the blanket, as if your fingers are used to curling around a rectangle of glowing glass. There's a phantom weight, a ghost grip, a memory of tapping and swiping. It's almost funny, your body reacting before your mind even fully forms the thought. You inhale deeply, catching the cool scent of the room again, grounding yourself before that instinct pulls you into old habits. Your phone isn't in your hand. It isn't even on your bedside table. It's across the room, face down, tucked somewhere intentionally out of reach, and suddenly you feel that strange combination of liberation and panic. You've decided to start this 30-day phone-free experiment, and the first hours are already testing you. It's not the sweeping lifestyle transformation you imagined. Not yet. It's more like your brain tapping you on the shoulder repeatedly asking, "Hey, what if someone messaged you? What if something happened? What if you're missing something super important?" And you answer each question with a calm but slightly sarcastic internal whisper, "Relax." If Beyoncé had announced a surprise album drop, you'd have heard screaming outside by now. You sink deeper into your bed, trying to reorient yourself to the sensation of not having that constant digital tether. Your body reacts in odd little ways. Your hand twitches again, your thumb flexes slightly, as if preparing to scroll through something invisible. Scholars still argue whether this muscle memory comes from habit loops or dopamine-conditioned behaviors, but whatever the reason, your body seems convinced you're in withdrawal. You let out a soft laugh at yourself, the kind that vibrates gently in your chest. It's absurd, but also incredibly human. You close your eyes, letting the darkness settle over you like a warm blanket, but your mind remains alert. Thoughts float in like timid house guests. Did anyone send you a meme? What if there's breaking news? What if your app's updated silently without you knowing? You respond to each thought with a sort of playful detachment, as though you're speaking to an overly dramatic friend. Calm yourself. The memes will wait. The news will survive without you. The apps, well, they can keep their secrets for one night. The fan's hum fills the room, helping to soften the itch of curiosity. You stretch your legs, feeling the sheets glide across your skin, grounding yourself again in something real. It's funny how these physical sensations, once so mundane, now feel like anchors in a sea of mental impulses. You run your fingers along the edge of the blanket, tracing the subtle texture of the fabric, letting your tactile senses remind you of this experiment's purpose, to reclaim attention, presence, and silence. You turn onto your side, pressing your face gently into the pillow. The soft cotton cools your cheek, and the fabric carries that comforting hint of detergent or freshness that almost mimics the feeling of morning. You breathe it in slowly, deeply, letting the scent settle inside you. It's oddly soothing, this newfound awareness of your surroundings. Without your phone, the room feels larger, deeper, more alive. The shadows cast by your lamp stretch across the walls like gentle brushstrokes, and you find yourself staring at them, watching the fan's breeze cause them to wobble faintly. A sudden thought intrudes, a practical one. What time is it? You don't know. You're not checking. And that feels rebellious. It's ridiculous how powerful this tiny act is, refusing to let time dictate your experience, refusing to check a glowing rectangle to validate your existence. You smile into the pillow, amused at how dramatic your mind is being about it. Somewhere, historians would probably nod knowingly. After all, ancient Romans slept in segmented cycles, trusting their bodies rather than their clocks. That's your mainstream historical fact for the night. Romans often woke in the middle of the night for quiet reflection, conversation, or, stuff. Lots of stuff. The night was a playground, not a rigid schedule. Tonight, you can feel a faint echo of that old rhythm. You flip onto your back again, arms spread slightly, feeling the stretch across your chest. The mattress cradles your body, and you notice a slight tingling sensation in your limbs, the kind that often comes with settling into rest or shaking off tension. But your mind is still wrestling with the phantom presence of your phone. You imagine it lying silently across the room, dark, dormant, waiting like a sulky pet disappointed you didn't immediately pick it up. A quirky detail slips into your awareness. Did you know your brain sometimes releases microdopamine bursts just by anticipating a screen interaction? Not opening the phone, not receiving a notification, just the thought of unlocking it. Your neurons are basically overexcited golden retrievers. Yet here you are, resisting the temptation like a nocturnal warrior armed only with blankets, stillness, and a fan that sounds like it's quietly applauding you. You shift again, letting your hand rest against your stomach. Your breathing deepens, your heartbeat slows. You start noticing the tiniest things. The faint tick of your wall clock, which you never paid attention to before, the soft creak of the wooden frame beneath your bed, even the quiet way your sheets rustle when you move. Without the constant pull of your phone, sounds regain texture. The world feels richer, layered, almost edible in its detail. Your mind wanders, now unspooling thoughts you haven't entertained in ages. Maybe you wonder about old hobbies, maybe you think of someone you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe you simply float through memories like you're browsing a library with dim lighting. Scholars still argue whether boredom fuels creativity or just forces introspection, but whatever the mechanism, you begin to feel thoughts blooming softly at the edges of your consciousness. They're not loud or demanding. They're gentle, curious, patient, like cats approaching you in a garden. A warm wave of comfort spreads across your chest again. You're doing it. You're really doing this experiment. Not checking your phone isn't just an act, it's a shift, a recalibration of your attention. You savor that. The feeling is subtle but profound, like someone turned down the volume of the world and left you alone with the soft hum of yourself. Your body responds too. Your muscles loosen. Your jaw unclenches. Your shoulders release tension you didn't realize you were carrying. The absence of screen glow gives your eyes a break they didn't know they craved. It feels like a detox, not dramatic, not overwhelming, just gentle. A slow, steady unwinding. A soft breeze drifts through your window, carrying the night air. You feel it graze your arm, then your neck, then dip lightly beneath your collarbone. It's cool but tender, the kind of sensation that makes you exhale without thinking. You imagine nights thousands of years ago when people slept under open skies, letting the night wind whisper across their skin. That natural connection feels strangely present in your room, a reminder that sleep is a primal act, a return to rhythms that existed long before screens, clocks, or obligations. You roll your head to one side, watching the shadows on your wall flicker again. The fan hums. The sheets rustle. Your breathing is soft, steady, rhythmic. And still, occasionally, there is that flicker in your mind. What if you just check it really quickly? You smirk, amused by your own predictability. Your brain is persistent, but not persuasive. Because now, the room feels full enough, whole enough, interesting enough. Your senses, once dulled by constant digital stimulation, feel sharpened, like a camera lens that's suddenly refocused. You hear everything. You feel everything. You're present in a way that almost surprises you. You stretch your arms over your head, letting the movement pull at your ribs and lengthen your spine. The sensation is delicious, a quiet ripple of relief. You feel the shift in your muscles, the warmth that follows the stretch, the way your back presses into the mattress more fully afterward. Every movement tonight feels amplified. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just noticed. That's the difference. Noticing. Your phone-free evening begins to feel less like a challenge and more like a gift. The urge to check fades in and out like a tide, but each wave gets weaker. You adjust your pillow, fluffing it with a soft thump, then nestle your cheek against it. The cool cotton welcomes you again. The shadows continue their slow dance. The night deepens. Somewhere in your mind, a quiet certainty forms. You can do this. Not for 30 days. Don't think that far ahead, but for tonight. For this hour. For this moment. And sometimes that's all an experiment needs. One moment of presence at a time. Your attention drifts again, slower now, softer. Thoughts stretch out like long cords of honey. The fan hums. Your limbs grow heavier. Drowsiness slides in, not the rushed collapse of screen exhaustion but the organic, unforced descent of real rest. You breathe. You melt. You release. And for the first time in a long while, you feel truly phone-free. You lie there, wrapped in blankets and the soft hum of the fan, thinking you've gotten the hang of this phone-free thing. You've survived the first wave of curiosity, the phantom thumb twitches, the little internal pings that felt like ghost notifications. You feel almost proud of yourself, until your brain decides to be dramatic again. It starts subtly. A tiny flicker of restlessness spreads behind your eyes. Your mind begins pacing like a cat that wants out, then in, then out, then in again. You shift your weight, trying to get comfortable, but suddenly everything feels slightly off. The pillow is too warm on one side, the blanket rubs your leg at a weird angle, the room's air seems too still and then too cool and then too still again. You're not uncomfortable, exactly. Just twitchy. Your brain has entered the early temptation phase. This is the moment where your mind decides to replay every little trivial thing you might have missed on your phone. Notifications, messages, updates, random articles you didn't care about 2 hours ago but now feel emotionally compelled to revisit. Your thoughts crackle with a weird urgency as if the universe itself is whispering, "Hey, what if someone tagged you in a meme?" You breathe slowly, deeply, refusing to give in. You remind yourself that this is part of the process. Scholars still argue whether early-stage digital withdrawal counts as genuine addiction or simply overstimulation meeting sudden quiet, but either way, your mind is reacting like you've taken away its favorite toy. It's slightly ridiculous, and slightly sad, and slightly hilarious all at once. You turn over again, feeling the sheets glide across your legs. The motion is soft, whisper light, and the sensation helps ground you for a moment. You focus on the texture, the temperature, the tiny shifting weight of the blanket. It helps. For about 3 seconds. Then your brain chirps again. Okay, but seriously, what if you did miss something? You smile without opening your eyes, amused at the persistence. The temptation is like an itch, tiny, nagging, living in a place you can't quite scratch. The funny thing is, you know exactly where your phone is. You know exactly how easy it would be to get up, walk across the room, tap the screen, and bathe in that warm, glowing flood of distraction. You could do it in 10 seconds. But you don't. You stay in bed, feeling the cool brush of air from the fan across your arm. You wiggle your toes under the covers, letting the sheets slide over your skin. You become aware again of your breathing, slow and even. The temptation doesn't vanish, but it softens, like a sharp edge dulled by gentle repetition. Your thoughts drift briefly to something random, something your brain pulls out of nowhere, like a magician revealing a card from behind your ear. You remember a quirky detail you once read. Some snails can sleep for up to 3 years. 3 entire years. If a snail can nap through whole political eras, surely you can get through a single night without your phone. The thought makes you laugh quietly, the sound soft and barely there in the dark. The laughter helps. It reminds you that the world doesn't vanish without your participation. Everything can wait. Your body settles a little more. You shift your hip, tug the blanket closer to your collarbone, and let your fingers rest softly against the mattress. Awareness drifts across your skin in slow waves. You can feel the slight roughness of the fabric at your fingertips. The warmth of your own breath cooling subtly around your face. The gentle coolness of the pillow beneath your cheek. But then, Your brain brings up a memory you didn't ask for, a conversation you had earlier, a question someone asked, a task you meant to do. A tiny, inconsequential thing, yet suddenly it feels urgent. Your eyes stay closed, but your eyebrows twitch slightly. You inhale through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. The urge to check something, anything, pulses through your mind again. You remind yourself you're here. In this moment, in this room, in this quiet, but the itch persists, subtle but real. You shift again, settling onto your other side, curling up slightly like a question mark. The posture feels comforting, like you're cradling your own thoughts into stillness. You press your knees together, pull the blanket up, and let your eyelids rest heavily. Gradually, the temptation evolves. It doesn't disappear, it transforms. Instead of wanting to check your phone, your mind starts to fill the space with its own content. Random thoughts, memories you haven't dusted off in months, questions you didn't even know were floating around inside you. It's like your brain has turned into a tiny FM radio, flipping between frequencies at will. You think about old conversations, songs you haven't heard in years, people you once cared about, a weird dream from last week, a joke you never fully understood, a dessert you saw once in a cafe window. The thoughts come in soft waves, gentle interruptions that pull your attention in different directions. It isn't unpleasant, just surprising. You breathe, letting your thoughts do what they need to do. Eventually the wave settles again. Not fully, but enough. The room feels quieter now, as if your mind is finally beginning to sync with the night's rhythm. You stretch your legs, pointing your toes under the blankets until the muscles in your calves wake up briefly with a warm buzz. The sensation is small, grounding, oddly satisfying. You nestle deeper into your pillow, letting your cheek sink into its softness. The cotton is cool again, refreshed from your shifting. You run your thumb along the edge of your blanket, tracing the seam lightly. Every sensory detail feels louder, richer, because there's nothing else competing for space. A faint historical memory drifts in. Long before telegraphs or newspapers, people learned about world events so slowly that days or weeks could pass before news traveled. Imagine that, weeks without updates, without the compulsion to constantly check anything. They lived in a world where silence wasn't an interruption but a default. Tonight, you get a tiny taste of that world. Your breathing slows again. The fan hums softly. The sheets cradle your legs. Your heartbeats turn rhythmic, gentle, spaced evenly. The temptation flickers occasionally, like a candle sputtering in a breeze, but each time it rises, your awareness gently pushes it back down. You're doing fine. You let your thoughts drift, imagining what tomorrow will feel like without reaching for your phone the moment you wake. There's uncertainty, maybe even a little fear, but also excitement, like stepping into a version of yourself you haven't met yet. Your mind slows. Your limbs grow heavier. The night deepens around you. This is withdrawal, yes, but it's also transition. A quiet recalibration. And for the first time tonight, your mind genuinely begins to rest. You stay curled there for a moment longer, feeling the last ripples of temptation fade into the sheets beneath you. There's a strange clarity in this quiet, something you didn't expect. Not peace exactly, not yet, but a kind of open space inside your head that feels unfamiliar. And into that space, slowly, gently, your mind begins to drift towards something you haven't touched in a long time, your old hobbies. It happens the way memories often do, softly at first, almost by accident. You picture a sketchbook you haven't opened in months. Or maybe the guitar leaning against the wall, the one you promised yourself you'd learn, when things calm down. Or maybe the book on your shelf that you've technically been reading for 3 years but can't confidently summarize beyond the first chapter. Your eyes remain closed, the night pressing comfortably around you, but your thoughts start turning pages you'd forgotten you owned. Without your phone, your brain needs something to chew on, and these quiet, creative parts of yourself start waking up like sleepy animals stretching after hibernation. It's subtle, the faint hum of curiosity rising in your chest. A gentle tug of inspiration. A whisper that says, you used to like doing things, remember? You breathe slowly, letting your chest rise and fall in its steady rhythm. You picture yourself sketching again, pencil gliding across paper. Or turning the crisp page of a book and feeling that little thrill of discovery. Or maybe humming a melody you once tried to write but abandoned halfway because a notification interrupted you. You can almost feel how those hobbies used to settle your mind before screens took over the real estate of your attention. There's a warmth in that thought, like stepping into a room that still smells of something you once loved. You shift gently on the mattress, letting your body relax as your mind drifts deeper into those stored away interests. It's strange. Your brain, deprived of scrolling, starts rummaging through the attic of your memory looking for anything else to stimulate it. But instead of the frantic dopamine hunting your phone encourages, this feels gentler, slower, almost nostalgic. It's the difference between junk food and a home-cooked meal. One hits fast and disappears. The other lingers. You imagine reaching for that sketchbook tomorrow, feeling the texture of the paper under your fingertips, hearing the faint scratch of graphite. You picture yourself getting lost in shapes and lines rather than timelines and feeds. Scholars still argue whether creative flow states improve when screens are removed or whether individuals simply become bored enough to rediscover old passions, but lying here now, you can almost feel that dormant part of yourself stirring. You stretch out your legs under the blankets, the motion slow and languid, like your body is syncing with the pace of your thoughts. The sheets glide over your skin, smooth and cool, grounding you as your imagination expands. You turn onto your back again, feeling your spine settle comfortably into the mattress. Every shift brings a new awareness of your body, the quiet of the room, the absence of distractions. Your mind wanders again, this time to music, maybe a playlist you haven't updated in years, or a half-learned chord progression you could revisit. You can almost hear it now in your mind's ear, a tune forming out of nowhere, simple but soothing. You tap your fingers lightly against your stomach, mimicking rhythm, letting your body play along with the memory. One thought flows into the next, smooth as water. Books to music to drawing to writing to nothing at all, just drifting. You're surprised by how much mental space you suddenly have, now that it isn't crammed with notifications, updates, and the silent pressure of staying caught up. You inhale deeply, savoring that newfound spaciousness. It feels like uncluttering a room you forgot was beautiful. A quirky detail wanders in uninvited. You remember reading that octopuses sometimes rearrange the objects in their dens for no reason other than vibe. Literally just improving their underwater interior decor. You smile into the dark, imagining yourself as a land octopus, rearranging your mental furniture now that the digital clutter is gone. Your eyes open just a sliver, catching the soft glow of your lamp. The room looks different somehow. Not brighter, not darker, but fuller. Like it has more presence. Or maybe that's just you. Maybe you're noticing it for the first time in a long while. You sit up slightly, adjusting pillows behind your back. The fabric compresses softly, holding your weight. Your body feels a little lighter now, the earlier restlessness dissolving into something more peaceful. You let your fingers wander along the edge of your blanket again, tracing the seam the way you traced your own curiosity earlier. You start thinking about the person you were when you first fell in love with those hobbies. Younger, maybe, less distracted, more patient, more willing to explore boredom instead of immediately running from it. You feel a brief twinge of nostalgia, but not sadness. More like recognition. Like rediscovering a version of yourself humming quietly in the background, waiting for space to emerge again. Your breathing deepens. Your shoulders relax. Your eyelids grow heavier. The night is quiet, but not empty. The quiet feels productive now, purposeful. Ideas flicker in your mind like fireflies, gentle, glowing, impossible to catch but beautiful to watch. You recall a fragment of history again. How ancient scholars in Greece believed that inspiration was a literal breeze sent by the muses, drifting through open windows in the nighttime hours. It's your mainstream historical fact for this section, and tonight, it feels oddly true. You can almost imagine ideas floating toward you with each pass of the fan's cool air. Your limbs sink deeper into the mattress, your body softening further as your thoughts continue their slow, unhurried exploration. You don't force them anywhere. You simply watch where they drift. You imagine tomorrow, waking up without immediately reaching for your phone, walking past it without checking anything, picking up a book instead, or a sketch pad, or a Journal. You picture yourself rediscovering old joys that were replaced, unnoticed, by digital noise. The thought feels warm, soft, welcoming. Your mind drifts again. You think of colors, shapes, sounds, textures, words, ideas you haven't visited in years. It feels like dusting off shelves inside your own mind. And as the wave of creative flickers slowly ebbs, you feel a gentle fatigue spread through you. Not the exhaustion of overstimulation, but the soft heaviness of a mind that's finally been allowed to wander freely. Your body melts into the mattress. Your breathing slows to a gentle sway. Your lashes soften against your cheeks. You're drifting. You're present. You're quietly becoming a version of yourself you've missed. And in this dim, cozy room, with the hum of the fan and the weight of your blankets, you feel something that's been rare lately. A little spark. Not loud. Not demanding. Just warm. A tiny rekindling of curiosity. Something real. Something yours. Something that doesn't need a screen. You settle back into the quiet again, but this time something feels different. It's subtle, like a shift in the air, or a soft click inside your chest that tells you you've crossed some kind of internal threshold. Your mind feels clearer. Not empty, not lazy, not bored, just clearer, as if someone wiped condensation off a mirror you didn't realize was fogged up. You take a slow breath, letting it travel deep into your lungs, feeling your ribcage expand. The air feels cooler somehow, more refreshing, like the night itself is rewarding you for hanging on through the early temptation phase. Your fingers relax against the mattress. Your toes wiggle lazily beneath the blankets. Your eyelids grow a little heavier. And then the calm reveals something else. Something quieter, deeper. The steady hum of your thoughts begins to slow. Not disappear. Just soften. As if your mind is finally sinking into a deeper level of rest. No notifications. No vibrations. No phantom buzzing. Just silence. Not the heavy, echoing silence that feels empty, but the warm kind, the kind you get when you step into a peaceful room and instantly feel safe. This is when you first begin to notice the early signs of mental reset. It's not some dramatic cinematic moment. You don't suddenly become enlightened. But you do feel something unspool inside you, like a long, tangled thread finally loosening. You didn't even know it was knotted until now. You let out a soft sigh, the sound barely audible over the fan's hum. It flutters through the room like a feather. Your shoulders drop a little deeper into the mattress. The muscles in your neck release one by one, a quiet cascade of relaxation. It's strange. Your mind isn't rushing anymore. It isn't bouncing from thought to thought like a ping-pong ball. Instead, it drifts slowly, naturally, like a boat gliding on calm water. You can actually follow your thoughts now, instead of being dragged behind them. You didn't expect that. Your attention, once fragmented into tiny scattered pieces, begins to collect itself again. You can feel the difference, like your mind is turning its face toward the present moment for the first time in a very long while. You think back to earlier parts of the night. The twitchy restlessness. The temptation. The weird bursts of random thoughts. The sudden flashes of old hobbies. Now they all feel distant, softened around the edges. Your body is sinking deeper into rest, and your mind is drifting with it. You inhale again, feeling the air cool as it brushes past your lips and fills your chest. You exhale, slow and warm, letting your breath melt into the stillness. Your eyes flutter open briefly. The room is exactly the same, but you're not. The shadows on the wall look softer, rounder. The glow of the lamp looks gentler. Even the blankets feel heavier in that comforting way that tells your body it's okay to let go. You close your eyes again and sink. For a moment, your mind goes beautifully, wonderfully quiet. And then, because your brain can't resist, it throws one last thought at you. Maybe you should check the weather for tomorrow. You smile. Softly, sleepily. Not annoyed this time. Just amused. Your brain is like a puppy trying one last trick to get your attention. But the urge doesn't have claws anymore. It's barely even a whisper. You pat it gently in your imagination and let it go. You stretch your hands above your head, feeling the delicious lengthening of your spine. A warmth spreads down your back, slow and syrupy. You sink deeper into the mattress, letting your arms fall softly to your sides. Your thoughts shift again, this time towards something soothing, a memory of a quiet morning or a lazy afternoon or a peaceful walk when your mind felt free in a way you haven't felt in ages. You don't have to grab the memory tightly. It just floats there, giving off a soft glow before drifting away again. Your mental space feels wide now. Spacious. Like someone opened a window inside your mind and let in fresh air. You wonder how long it's been since you've felt this kind of clarity. This kind of gentle quiet. Your attention drifts to a bit of history, another soft reminder that human minds didn't always live in a constant state of buzzing distraction. Before telephones existed, before radios, before screens, people often spent evenings simply sitting, reflecting, talking quietly with family, or just listening to the night. And for your historical fact, Benjamin Franklin reportedly enjoyed air baths, just sitting naked by an open window in the morning to let his thoughts settle in the quiet air. You're not doing that right now, hopefully, but the concept of letting your mind breathe. That part feels familiar tonight. Your limbs grow heavier still. Your breathing becomes slower. Your thoughts stretch out like long threads. The mental reset continues. It's subtle at first. You don't think, wow, I'm resetting. You just feel lighter. Like your mind is shedding a layer of static you didn't know you were carrying. Scholars still argue whether this state comes from reduced stimulation or simply the brain recalibrating its dopamine baseline, but either way, you can feel the shift. Your awareness narrows to your body. The weight of your arms. The warmth of your blankets. The way your chest rises and falls in soft, slow waves. Your mind rides that rhythm, syncing with your breath. You feel thoughts passing through you gently, slowly, like clouds drifting across a silent sky. Not rushing. Not jostling. Just floating. A quirky detail slips into memory again. Something you once read about jellyfish sleeping. They don't have brains, yet they still enter low-activity rest cycles, pulsing more slowly through the water. Even mindless creatures need downtime, apparently. And here you are, finally giving your overworked mind the same courtesy. You smile again, barely more than a twitch of your lips, but it feels warm, comforting. Your thoughts drift once more, this time toward the days ahead. Not with pressure, not with urgency, just curiosity. If one phone-free evening feels like this, what might a whole week feel like? Or a month? Would your mind get even quieter? Would your creativity grow? Would you discover new parts of yourself? You don't dwell too hard on the questions. They're soft, like feathers landing on the surface of your thoughts. You let them sit there for a moment before they drift away again. Another deep breath. Another subtle release in your muscles. Another softening of your thoughts. You're sinking deeper into yourself now, not in a heavy way but in a peaceful one. Like your mind is settling into a warm pool of quiet. You feel present. You feel grounded. You feel surprisingly, wonderfully calm. The early signs of mental reset aren't dramatic, they're gentle. A little more focus. A little less noise. A little more space. And beneath all that, something quieter. Something almost like contentment. You pull the blanket a little higher, feeling the cozy weight settle across your chest. The air drifting from the fan cools your forehead, a soft caress that sends a shiver down your spine. Your toes stretch under the sheets before curling comfortably again. You're here. You're resting. You're resetting. And your mind, for the first time in a long while, feels like it's finally yours. You let the quiet settle over you like a slow falling blanket, and for a moment you think you've reached the deepest point of calm tonight. But then something unexpected begins to happen. Your senses sharpen in strange, subtle ways. Not in a dramatic superhero origin story sense, but in a grounded, almost intimate way. It's like someone turned the dimmer switch up just a notch, not enough to flood the room with light, but enough to reveal details you weren't noticing before. You shift slightly on the mattress, and suddenly you feel the texture of the sheets with more clarity than you did earlier, the whisper of fabric brushing your skin, the slight warmth gathered under your knees, the way the blankets weigh gently across your torso. You inhale, and now you notice tiny notes in the air. A hint of detergent, the faint coolness drifting in from the window, the soft scent of your pillow that's a mix of fabric, warmth, and something that feels like home. It's subtle, but real. Your sensory awareness is turning on. You didn't plan for this part. You didn't expect it. You certainly didn't think not checking your phone would suddenly make your senses pay attention to the physical world again. But here it is, gently unfolding. You let your fingers drift slowly along the mattress beside you. The fabric feels textured in a way you haven't registered in ages. Maybe because usually your fingertips are wrapped around a phone screen, scrolling, tapping, zooming, swiping. Your phone doesn't have texture. It's smooth and cold and frictionless, the sensory equivalent of a piece of glass pretending to be a universe. But now, in the absence of that familiar smoothness, the real world feels richer. Your awareness expands outward, brushing against the hum of the fan again. You focus on its steady rhythm, the low, soothing drone that fills the room with a kind of gentle white noise. You hear the faint creak of your bed frame when you shift your weight. You even catch the whisper of night air brushing against the window pane. These sounds were always there, but tonight they feel amplified, as if your brain is rediscovering the background soundtrack it had been tuning out for years. And this is where the interesting part begins. Your sensory perception doesn't just sharpen, it stabilizes. It's as if your mind is finally saying, okay, we've stopped sprinting. Now we can actually experience things again. You take a slow breath, letting it fill your lungs deeply. You notice how your chest lifts gently beneath the blanket, how your diaphragm stretches, how the air feels cool when it enters and warm when it leaves. Breathing becomes a whole event, calming, rhythmic, grounding. You didn't expect something this simple to feel so soothing. But your body is thrilled. It's been waiting for this. You settle deeper into the mattress, letting gravity do its work. A soft warmth spreads through your limbs, and you feel the slight heaviness that comes when your muscles realize they no longer need to prepare for constant interruption. Without your phone tugging at your attention every few minutes, your body isn't bracing for anything. It's just resting. Your heartbeat seems slower too, not dramatically, but noticeably. Steady, even, soft. Like a metronome keeping time for your entire body. You run your fingertips across the blanket again, noticing how your sense of touch reacts instantly, like the neurons in your skin are waking up. Scholars still argue whether sensory recalibration during digital detox is physiological or psychological, but tonight it doesn't matter. You can feel the difference. And that's enough. Your awareness drifts to the air again. It's cool, but not cold. Fresh, but not sharp. Soft, like a breeze that's learned how to whisper. It dances across your cheek, slides down your neck, and disappears beneath the edge of your shirt. You shiver a little, not because you're cold, but because you're aware. The sensation feels intimate, alive, something you usually don't notice at all. You stretch one leg slowly under the covers, feeling the fabric glide along your skin. The sensation sends a warm ripple through your muscles. You flex your toes, enjoying the little crackle of comfort that spreads when they move. It's such a tiny moment, but your brain registers it fully. This is the part of the phone-free experience no one really talks about, the way your senses quietly reboot themselves. Your hearing, sharpened by the absence of digital noise, picks up everything: the soft buzz of electricity behind the wall, the faint whoosh of the fan's blades, the even quieter sound of your own breath. It's like your ears have expanded their range, tuning into frequencies you forgot existed. You think back to your sense of smell again, something humans underuse compared to our ancient ancestors. That's your historical fact for this section. Early human communities relied heavily on scent to track weather changes, food sources, and even emotional cues from others. Tonight, you're not hunting mammoths or trying to smell a storm coming, but your nose is awake in a way that feels almost primal. You take another slow breath. And there it is. The scent of your pillow again. Warm, familiar, comforting. It feels grounding, like an anchor to the present moment. You shift onto your side, brushing your face against the pillow. You feel the faint rise of the seam beneath your cheek, the subtle give of the fabric, the warmth your body has left on its surface. The tactile detail feels almost luxurious, like your sense of touch is rediscovering textures it had forgotten existed. Your skin becomes more aware too. You feel the soft brush of air across your arms. The slight movement of the blanket when your chest rises. The gentle tug of gravity pulling your limbs toward the mattress. Even the warmth blooming across your stomach as you settle more comfortably feels noticeable. Your body feels drawn into the bed, not weighed down but supported, like the mattress is holding you with intention. Your mind drifts again, slow and easy. You feel lighter, but also more grounded. More aware of your surroundings, yet more relaxed within them. A quirky detail drifts across your thoughts. You remember reading that bananas share about 60% of their DNA with humans. It has nothing to do with anything at all, but it makes you smile sleepily, because your brain, now calmer and less frantic, finally has the space to let random facts float up without immediately drowning them in a sea of notifications. You let out a soft breath, and the air brushes your lips gently. Your whole body responds. Your ribs shifting, your chest warm, your shoulders finally limp and loose. Your senses keep sharpening in waves. You hear the fan again. Steady, loyal, calming. You feel the pillow beneath your cheek. Soft, warm, real. You notice the weight of your blanket. Familiar, grounding, safe. This is the first real taste of sensory reset. You didn't even mean to reach it. It just happened. A quiet reward for staying in the moment. A soft settling of the mind and body together. You run your hand slowly along your arm, the light touch sending tiny tingles through your skin. You feel warmth and softness and a sense of presence that's been missing for a long time. Your awareness becomes gentle but precise. Your body becomes heavier but lighter at the same time. Your mind becomes quieter but clearer. You melt into the mattress. You drift with the air. You soften into the quiet. And somewhere in that growing awareness, in that fuzzy space between real and dreamy, you notice that the world feels new again, not because anything changed, but because you did. Your senses, once drowned out by constant digital stimulation, are finally returning home. They're waking up gently, quietly, softly, just like you. You stay there a little longer, letting your senses glow quietly in the dark like embers in a fireplace. Everything feels sharper, calmer, lighter, but now something else is beginning to rise. Something deeper, softer, and almost surprising. The early emotional shifts that come when your brain finally gets a break. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not even something you consciously recognize at first. But slowly, gently, you feel your chest loosen in a way it hasn't in a long time. Not stretching before a workout, loosen. Not took off tight shoes, loosen. More like your emotions finally unclenching their fists. There's a warmth spreading across your ribs, not physical exactly, but something that sits behind your breathing and hums softly. You inhale, and the breath flows easier. You exhale, and it feels like you're sending out tension you didn't even know you'd been carrying. You nestle deeper into your pillow, letting your cheek rest fully against the soft surface. Your eyes drift shut, heavy in content, and you feel a slow softness settle in your chest. A quiet, a calm, a sort of emotional exhale. For the first time tonight, you feel the tiniest spark of peace. Not the forced kind, where you try to meditate and then get mad at yourself for thinking too much. Not the performative kind, where you post self-care day online while secretly drowning in stress. This is quieter, more personal, more honest. Your emotional baseline is shifting, and you can feel the movement like a gentle tide washing over the shore. It starts with stillness, a softening behind your eyes, a loosening in your throat, an unclenching in your jaw. Your emotions, always on standby for the next notification, the next dopamine burst, the next jolt of news or drama, finally get to settle. It's strange how much space that frees up. How much quieter your heart becomes. How much softer your thoughts feel. You inhale again, long and slow. Your chest rises, smooth and unhurried. Your stomach expands gently beneath the blanket. Your shoulders sink a little deeper into the mattress. The air moving in and out of your body feels cleansing. Real. Intentional. Your mind settles on the thought, not consciously, not analytically, but instinctively, that you've been operating on emotional overload without realizing it. And now, for the first time in a while, you feel the pressure easing. You shift slightly, rolling onto your side again. The blanket slides with you, warm and heavy in the best way. The mattress dips comfortably beneath your weight, surrounding you with the kind of support that makes you feel held. Your hand slips under the pillow, fingers curling loosely, and you breathe into the quietness. Your emotions begin to seep through the silence. Not loud, not painful, not overwhelming, just present. A soft awareness, a gentle warmth, a sense that you're finally paying attention to yourself. Your mind drifts to tiny things, moments you didn't allow yourself to feel earlier today, or this week, or maybe even this month. Things you skimmed over because you were too busy scrolling, too busy reacting, too busy absorbing everyone else's noise. A conversation you rushed through. A disappointment you ignored. A compliment you shrugged off. A worry you pushed to the side. A hope too delicate to look at directly. Now, those little pieces float gently to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but to settle themselves. To be acknowledged. To breathe. Your emotions are doing the same thing your senses did earlier. Resetting. It happens so quietly you almost miss it. You feel the first glimmer of emotional clarity, a recognition that some of your stress wasn't really stress at all, but overstimulation pretending to be stress. Some of your anxiety wasn't true worry, but constant anticipation, waiting for the next buzz, the next message, the next mental interruption. Now, in the dark, with your phone quiet and distant, your emotions can finally find their natural rhythm. You inhale again. You feel your chest swell. You feel something warm rise with it. Not sadness. Not excitement. Just presence. Your emotions aren't demanding anything from you. They're simply showing up. Gently. Softly. Calmly. You shift your leg under the blanket, the movement slow and comfortable. The sheet cools the back of your calf, and you savor the sensation. Your body is fully tuned in now, and along with it, your emotional self begins to tune in too. You didn't expect it to feel like this. This quietness. This softness. This absence of emotional static. A quirky thought floats through your mind. Did you know that sloths sometimes mistake their own limbs for tree branches and accidentally hug themselves? It's adorable, chaotic, and comforting all at once. But in a way, you're doing your own version of that, emotionally hugging yourself without realizing it. You let out a tiny, sleepy laugh at the thought. The sound is quiet, warm, and honest. It softens something inside you even more. Your emotional clarity grows in small, steady ripples. You start noticing things like how relieved your chest feels, how calm your breathing is, how warm your ribs are, how safe your body seems. It's almost like your nervous system is thanking you for the break. Your thoughts drift again, slow, dreamy, unhurried. You remember hearing once that ancient Egyptians believed emotions lived in the heart, not the brain. That's your historical fact for this section. They thought the heart recorded your deeds, your character, your memories. And tonight, that idea doesn't seem so far-fetched. Because the calm blooming inside your chest feels real, physical, tangible. You rest a hand lightly over your sternum, feeling the gentle rise and fall with each breath. The warmth under your palm feels soothing, grounding, honest. Your emotions feel clearer now. Less tangled, less noisy, less desperate for input. Scholars still argue whether emotional resets during digital detox come from the removal of stimuli or the restoration of baseline dopamine levels, but you're not thinking about that tonight. You're simply feeling the shift. And the shift feels good. You melt deeper into your pillow, letting your cheek grow warm against the fabric. You let the blanket hug your body. You let the air kiss your skin. You let your emotions rest quietly in your chest, soft but steady. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not thinking about messages. You're not thinking about notifications. You're not thinking about anything that pulls you away from this moment. Your attention drifts to something simple. The way your breath feels leaving your lips. Warm, soft, slow. You're here. You're feeling. You're recalibrating. And tonight, without your phone, your emotions finally have the space to stretch out, breathe deeply, and settle into a rhythm that feels more like you. A little softer, a little clearer, a little more human. You let your eyes stay closed. You let your breathing stay slow. You let your heart feel warm and rested. You let yourself just be. And for this moment, quiet, cozy, and deeply present. That's more than enough. You stay there a little while longer, letting the emotional clarity hum quietly inside your chest, and slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, you begin to notice something else happening. Your ability to focus shifts. It doesn't snap into place like a puzzle piece or flood your mind with sudden intensity. It moves like the tide. Slow, subtle, rising inch by inch until you realize the shoreline has completely changed. It begins with the way your thoughts stop scattering. No more zigzagging from idea to memory to worry to imaginary scenario in the space of half a second. No more mental tabs stacking themselves in the background. No more internal pings demanding attention you no longer owe them. For the first time tonight, your attention doesn't feel fractured. It feels like a soft beam of light, warm, steady, unhurried, illuminating one thing at a time without pressure or panic. You didn't expect this. You didn't even think you lost your focus, because losing focus these days is so normal it doesn't even feel like a loss. But now, in the quiet, you can feel your mind stitching itself back together, reforming into something whole. You inhale slowly, and as you exhale, you feel your attention settle like dust in a sunbeam. You notice the gentleness of the air brushing your upper lip. You notice the weight of the blanket on your hips. You notice your fingers resting lightly against the pillowcase. You notice the rise and fall of your ribs. You notice the exact angle of your neck as your head sinks deeper into the pillow. Your attention expands outward but without urgency. It's curious, not frantic. Present, not scattered. A soft warmth spreads across your forehead, the kind that comes when your brain finally stops sprinting. You didn't realize how long it had been running. Through timelines, updates, reminders, notifications, images, texts, and the constant influx of everything. Your brain was multitasking itself into exhaustion. And now it's finally breathing. You shift slightly on the mattress, letting gravity pull your weight down more evenly. Your body responds instantly, melting into the new position like warm wax. Your muscles unclench from places you didn't even know were holding tension, your lower back, the sides of your ribs, even your fingers. Your mind mirrors your body. Loosening, softening, settling. Your focus becomes gentle but steady, like you could watch a thought drift by without chasing it or trying to control it. There's no scramble, no urgency, no tightness in your chest from trying to keep up with a world that never sleeps. Just quiet, just clarity, just focus. You didn't know focus could feel peaceful. Your breathing syncs with it naturally, steady and soft. The fan hums above you, a low, soothing anchor in the background. You tune into it, not intentionally, not forcefully, but because your mind suddenly has the space to choose what to pay attention to. You trace the sound, the circular rhythm, the faint wobble of the blade, the way the air shifts as it moves. Your brain isn't jumping ahead to the next thing. It's actually here. You don't remember the last time that happened. A tiny, almost sleepy smile tugs at your lips. The kind you give to a small victory you didn't even aim for. You didn't come into this night trying to reclaim your focus, but somehow, piece by piece, it's coming back. The quiet helps. The darkness helps. Your stillness helps. And the absence of the constant digital pull helps more than you realized. You let your hand drift across the mattress, fingertips brushing the fabric. You can feel the grain of it more distinctly than before, the tiny threads woven together. Your mind registers the sensation with precision, as if it's hungry for details that aren't delivered through a screen. Your focus sharpens even further. You notice the sound of your own breath. The whisper soft slide of your sheets when you exhale. The faint vibration of the floor beneath you. The steady thump of your heart moving blood through your chest. Everything feels slower, richer, more intentional. You remember reading once that monks in medieval monasteries practiced deep concentration through silent reading, a form of spiritual discipline long before smartphones existed. That's your historical fact tonight. Their work required stillness, not just physical, but mental, and as you lie here, you can almost understand why. Silence creates a kind of internal order, a gentle clearing where thoughts can actually form without tripping over each other. You're experiencing your own version right now. Another breath, another ripple of calm, another settling of your mind. Your attention drifts again to the quiet around you. The room feels bigger somehow, as if removing digital noise also removed invisible clutter from the air. Your thoughts wander in slow arcs, and instead of feeling pulled in 10 directions, you feel guided by softness. There's a calm center inside you now, warm, steady, present. You notice it growing. You feel it deepening. You let it expand. And through that center, your focus becomes something more than attention. It becomes awareness. You're aware of the gentle pressure of the mattress cradling your hips, the softness of your pillow hugging your cheek, the weight of the blanket cocooning your legs, the coolness of the air brushing your forearm, the whisper of fabric moving when you breathe, the faint, rhythmic hum that fills the room. Your mind holds all of these things without strain, without rushing, without splitting itself into fragments. Everything feels unified. You let the sensation deepen. You let it fill the space behind your eyes. You let your focus sink into the center of your chest, warm and grounding. A quirky detail floats through your mind, your brain reminding you it still has personality even in its calm state. Hummingbirds' hearts beat up to 1,200 times per minute. You think about that for a moment, imagining a creature that tiny running on triple espresso energy at all times. Your brain has been doing a hummingbird impression for years, and only tonight does it realize how tired it is. Your focus drifts back to your breathing. Slow, even, gentle. You're not distracted by anything. There's nothing trying to pull you away. Nothing buzzing. Nothing glowing. Nothing chiming. Just quiet. Just you. Just this moment. Your thoughts slow even more, gliding rather than tumbling. The clarity continues to build, not loud or sharp, but faint like moonlight reflecting on still water. Scholars still argue whether the brain's attention span truly shrinks from digital overload or whether it simply becomes overstimulated, but whatever the mechanism, you can feel the difference here, in the soft hush of your room, where the only notifications come from your own heartbeat. You stretch your toes again, then your fingers, tiny movements that feel delicious. You sink deeper into the mattress, into the quiet, into yourself. Your focus is no longer something you're trying to maintain. It's something you're resting in. It holds you as gently as the blankets do. You lie there, calm and aware, letting the stillness wrap around you. Letting your mind soften, letting your attention become a pool of warm water you can float in. This is what it feels like when your mind begins to recover. This is what it feels like when your focus returns home. This is what it feels like to be present again. Soft, clear, whole. And as you drift deeper into the quiet, you realize something almost profound. You didn't just stop using your phone tonight. You found yourself again. Your focus settles into a warm, steady hum, and just when you think your mind can't get any calmer, another shift begins, slow, subtle, and almost tender. It happens not in your thoughts or your breath or your muscles this time, but somewhere deeper, somewhere softer. Your confidence in yourself begins to rise. It doesn't surge up dramatically. There are no fireworks, no superhero soundtrack, no sudden urge to flip your pillow triumphantly. Instead, it grows like warmth spreading through a cup of tea, quiet, comforting, natural. It starts with a simple realization. You feel capable again. Not capable in a go climb a mountain tomorrow kind of way. More like capable in the way you feel when you remember you can still cook a meal without looking up instructions, or fold laundry without forgetting halfway through because 6 notifications pulled you in different directions. You breathe in slowly. Your chest rises with ease. And with the exhale comes something you haven't felt in a long time. Self-trust. Your thoughts glide into place instead of crashing. Your emotions sit calmly instead of swirling. Your mind holds the moment without trying to escape it. And in that quiet, you realize something surprising. You're okay. Not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally okay. It's strange how rare that feeling is. You let the warmth linger in your chest, blooming slowly under your ribs. Your confidence grows in gentle waves rather than sharp bursts, and it feels safe. Soft. Real. You shift a little on the mattress, and the whole movement feels intentional, like your body knows exactly what it's doing. There's no awkwardness, no restlessness, no emotional static fuzzing up your brain. You feel at home in your own skin, maybe for the first time in a long time. You inhale again, and the air tastes a little sweeter. Not literally. You're not inhaling dessert, but the breath feels satisfying, complete. Like you're feeding something inside yourself that's been starving quietly. Your sense of agency returns. You feel like you're choosing this moment, not falling into it by accident. Your hand brushes the blanket near your waist, and even that small gesture feels smooth and sure. You adjust the covers over your legs, and something about the movement carries intention rather than instinct. You are present. You are aware. You are steady. Confidence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the softest thing in the room. Your mind drifts to the thought that you've survived the day without your usual digital safety net. No quick distraction, no endless scrolling, no constant influx of other people's thoughts to drown out your own. You face the quiet, the boredom, the stillness, and somehow, you're still here. You didn't crack. You didn't collapse. You didn't combust. Though at one point earlier, you probably thought you might. Your body relaxes deeper into the mattress as if acknowledging the victory. You let your fingers rest gently against the sheets. The fabric greets your skin with familiar softness. The texture feels real, grounding, like the world is confirming, yes, you're doing okay. You're allowed to rest now. The room around you feels bigger, not physically but emotionally. Spacious. Supportive. Like your mind isn't hitting the ceiling anymore. Your thoughts float with ease, not trapped in loops or noise. You feel centered, balanced, comfortably confident. It reminds you of something you once heard about ancient Greek athletes. That's your historical fact for this section. They used to prepare for competitions not just physically but mentally, spending long periods in quiet reflection to align their focus and self-belief. No smartphones, no distractions, just steady concentration and inner calm. And lying here now, you can almost understand why they valued that mental clarity. You feel a warmth spread from your chest to your shoulders, loosening something tight that's been there longer than you realized. Maybe it was tension, or doubt, or just the constant pressure of feeling like you had to keep up with everything, all the time. Now, that pressure dissolves like sugar swirling into warm water. You shift slightly, pulling the blanket up toward your collarbone. The gentle weight warms your skin, and suddenly even that small action feels like self-assurance. A quirky detail floats lazily across your sleepy mind. Goldfish, when kept in calm environments, can remember things for months, despite the myth that they can only remember for 3 seconds. Your brain, now calmer and clearer, feels like it's aligning more with the goldfish than the myth. Calm environments do wonders for memory, and apparently for confidence too. You smile faintly at the thought. It feels effortless. It feels true. Your breath deepens again, flowing in long, warm waves. With each inhale, you feel your ribs expand and your chest open. With each exhale, you feel your shoulders sink, your muscles soften, your mind unclench. And with each slow breath, your confidence grows, not in leaps, but in murmurs. You're comfortable making small decisions. Comfortable being still. Comfortable being imperfect. Comfortable being present. It's the kind of calm confidence that doesn't need to prove itself. It just exists, naturally, like your heartbeat or the hum of the fan moving the air around your room. Scholars still argue whether reduced digital input directly restores self-esteem or whether the calm simply allows your brain to hear its own voice again, but lying here now, wrapped in softness and silence, the mechanism doesn't matter. The effect is undeniable. You feel steady. Your sense of self no longer flickers like a glitchy LED screen. It glows slow and warm, like a lantern at night. You're not being compared to anyone. You're not being observed. You're not performing or reacting or chasing validation. You're just here. And somehow, just here, feels like enough. Your mind drifts to something simple, a moment earlier today that would usually make you second guess yourself. But now, in this rested state, it doesn't sting in the same way. It softens, dissolves. You see it for what it was. Small, manageable, human. You breathe into that recognition. You breathe into your own gentleness. You breathe into this new, warm certainty that you're stronger than you realized. Your hand shifts, brushing the blanket again. The sensation grounds you, reminding you that confidence can live in something as simple as touch. As breath, as stillness. You're not folding in on yourself anymore. You're unfolding, quietly, softly, like cloth spreading in warm light. You nestle deeper into your pillow, letting it cradle your head. The room whispers with calm. The fan hums its steady lullaby. Your breathing becomes slow and rhythmic, matching the softness around you. For the first time in a long while, you feel sure of yourself. Not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, deeply, quietly sure. Confidence isn't a shout tonight. It's a whisper, a steady heartbeat, a soft glow rising in your chest. You melt into the warmth. You let your body soften. You let your mind ease. And you realize, right here in the quiet, without your phone, without the noise, without the constant comparisons, you feel like yourself again. Whole, grounded, and beautifully enough. The confidence glowing in your chest settles into something warm and steady, like a candle glowing behind frosted glass. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't strain. It just burns quietly, radiating outward in soft waves. And as that warmth spreads through you, another transformation begins, not in your mind, not in your emotions, but deeper. More instinctual. Your routine, your natural rhythm, begins to rewire itself. You wouldn't think one evening without your phone could shift anything so ingrained, but the human body is surprisingly adaptive. It responds to quiet like a thirsty plant responds to water. Slowly, and then all at once. It starts with a single sleepy realization. You're winding down naturally, not artificially, not forced, not dragged into bed by exhaustion and blue light and frantic scrolling. It's an organic slowing, a returning, a recalibrating, a syncing up with your own internal rhythm. You feel your breaths growing deeper on their own. You feel your shoulders sinking lower without you telling them to. You feel your limbs getting heavier, not tired heavy, but restful heavy. The kind of heaviness that says, you're safe. You're allowed to let go now. Your body isn't fighting bedtime. It's welcoming it. You adjust your position slightly, and your whole body responds with a soft wave of alignment. Your spine settles. Your rib cage loosens. Your hips melt deeper into the mattress. The blanket hugs your legs like it has opinions about your comfort. Even your toes soften, curling into a relaxed little shape that feels instinctively right. This is your natural rhythm resurfacing. The one you've drowned out with midnight scrolling and overstimulation and, just one more video, more times than you can count. You breathe into it. Your inhale is slow, silky. Your exhale is warm, drifting out of you like a sigh that's been waiting all day. A tiny shift happens behind your eyes. Your eyelids grow heavier. Your thoughts grow slower. Your focus grows softer. Your body's rhythm is syncing with the nighttime in a way it hasn't in years. You didn't force it. You didn't meditate for 40 minutes. You didn't do a breathing exercise app that inevitably asks for a subscription. You simply removed the noise. And nature did the rest. You let your cheeks slide deeper into the pillow, the fabric warming instantly against your skin. The room feels cooler now, not just physically but emotionally, like the quiet is settling into the walls themselves. The fan hums softly overhead, its rhythm aligning with your breath like a duet. Your mind wanders, but it wanders gently, drifting like it's floating down a slow river rather than speeding down a highway. The thoughts that come aren't intrusive. They're soft, simple, harmless. You think about how nighttime used to feel. How your body would naturally slow. How your eyes would grow heavy. How sleep used to come quietly, not barging in like an overdue bill. You're rediscovering that rhythm. Another warm wave rolls through your chest, spreading into your arms. Your fingers uncurl slightly, resting comfortably against the sheet. You rub your thumb slowly along the fabric, and even that small motion feels soothing. Your body is shifting into rest mode, on its own. It's almost poetic, the way the human system remembers what to do when it finally gets a break. You're not fighting your tiredness or trying to distract yourself into unconsciousness. You're easing into it. Your natural rhythm feels like it's returning home. A random, quirky thought bubbles up. Did you know penguins take tiny naps throughout the day, adding up to around 11 hours of sleep? Micro naps. Micro sleeps. Little bursts. You aren't a penguin, but your body has been trying to micro rest for ages, every time you blink too slowly while doom scrolling at 1 a.m. You smile at the thought, soft, sleepy, amused. Your cheeks relax. Your jaw loosens. Your whole face warms and softens. You take another breath, and now your inhale and exhale fall into a natural cadence. Slow, even, unhurried. Your body is setting the pace, and your mind is following obediently, like a sleepy little pup trotting behind a warm lamp. Your heart beats slower. Your ribs expand with gentle intention. Your muscles unwind like threads loosening from a spool. This is what it feels like when your internal rhythms reclaim control. It's strange to realize that the world around you, the light, the quiet, the lack of digital stimulation, has more influence on your sleep cycle than you ever gave it credit for. You've been fighting your circadian rhythm for ages and didn't even notice. You're not fighting it tonight. You shift your hips deeper into the bed, and the mattress cradles you perfectly. The blanket feels heavier now, in a comforting, gravity blanket way. Every part of you begins to sink, like your body is dissolving into softness, little piece by little piece. You exhale again, warm air brushing the pillowcase. The quiet of the room wraps around you like fabric. Your natural nighttime rhythm keeps rising, stronger and more certain. A historical detail drifts into your thoughts, because your brain is calm enough to remember random things now. Early civilizations used sundials and candle clocks to align their daily rhythms with light and darkness. Before artificial light, people slept more naturally, in longer or biphasic cycles. You wonder vaguely if your body craves that simplicity too. Scholars still argue whether modern circadian disruption is caused more by blue light or by psychological overstimulation, but tonight, lying here in the dark, it's clear that both have been getting in your way. Now, freed from them, your rhythm feels like a deep tide rolling back into place. You rest one hand on your stomach, noticing the gentle rise and fall with each breath. The warmth under your palm feels comforting, like you're grounding yourself without even trying. Your breathing deepens again. Your eyelids flutter lazily. Your limbs grow heavier and heavier. The natural rhythm pulls you in like gravity, slow, steady, irresistible. You're not rushing toward sleep. You're gliding toward it. Two warm currents drifting together. You melt deeper into your pillow. Your legs sink into the mattress. The blanket hugs your body from shoulders to ankles. Your internal clock whispers, "This is right. This is how it's supposed to feel." Your thoughts drift again, slower now, softer. Each one seems to appear wrapped in velvet. Nothing sharp, nothing urgent, nothing demanding. Just calm, dreamy half ideas drifting by like clouds sliding past the moon. Your body cues the next phase of rest without you prompting it. Your mind softens, your hearing becomes more selective, and the sensations around you grow blurrier. Your natural rhythm is taking the wheel. You don't resist. You don't overthink. You don't anticipate. You just breathe. You just sink. You just let yourself be carried. This is your body remembering. This is you reconnecting with the instinct to rest. This is your system rebooting, quietly, gently, beautifully. And as you lie there, wrapped in softness and silence and slow, warm breaths, one simple truth settles over you. When your phone isn't dictating your rhythm, your body finally remembers its own. Your natural rhythm hums quietly now, a steady current running beneath your chest and ribs. You lie there, wrapped in blankets and warmth, and for the first time tonight, you notice the gentle pull of creativity beginning to reappear. It's not like the frantic bursts of inspiration that come from a caffeine-fueled scroll session or a must-post now panic. This is quieter, softer, almost sneaky in the way it creeps up. Your mind drifts lazily, opening little doors it's kept shut all day. The ideas aren't demands, they're gentle suggestions. A fleeting image of a sunset you saw yesterday. A melody you half remember from a song you once liked. A phrase that feels like it could be the start of something meaningful, though you don't know what. You simply notice them, like observing fireflies on a warm evening. The first spark of creativity comes not from pressure, but from presence. You let your mind drift, lightly, without guilt or expectation, and suddenly, these little sparks appear like stars emerging in a twilight sky. You haven't tried to chase them. You haven't scrolled to distract yourself. They simply come. You notice how satisfying it feels to acknowledge them without committing to anything. There's a freedom in that, an unscheduled, unmonitored space where your mind can wander freely. It's been so long since your brain has had this luxury that the sensation almost surprises you. Your body continues to relax alongside this awakening creativity. Your spine stretches softly against the mattress. Your ribs expand and contract with ease. Your shoulders rest against the pillow without tension. Even the smallest parts of you, your fingers, your toes, curl naturally, instinctively, comfortably. The world outside your room feels distant, almost fictional. Your attention exists fully inside the warmth of your own body and mind. A quirky thought drifts into your head. Octopuses have 3 hearts, and 2 of them stop beating when they swim. You chuckle quietly, letting the silliness fill the quiet room. You lie there, wrapped in blankets and quiet, and notice something new stirring in the depths of your awareness. It's subtle, almost imperceptible at first. A heightened sensitivity to the small details of your world. Not the world outside, not the news feeds or notifications or the glowing screens, but your immediate environment. Your room, your bed, the fabric under your fingers, the soft hum of the fan above, all of it becomes sharper, yet calmer, as if your senses are finally allowed to breathe. You tilt your head slightly, listening. Really listening. The fan doesn't just hum anymore, it swirls the air around you, like a tiny river curling through the room. The faint creak of the bed frame under your shifting weight is now a rhythm in the quiet. You notice the subtle difference in temperature near the window versus near your pillow. You hadn't realized how much your awareness had dulled until this gentle restoration. Your fingertips trace the edge of the blanket. Each thread feels distinct. The weave seems alive, almost vibrating faintly under your touch. It's absurd, you think, how rarely you notice these textures in a world obsessed with glowing rectangles and instant gratification. You breathe slowly, and suddenly you're aware of the friction of air on your skin. The small shiver it creates sends warmth creeping down your spine. You smile to yourself, softly, amusedly, because it feels like your own body is greeting you after a long absence. And in a way, it has been absent. You've been scrolling, swiping, consuming other people's realities instead of inhabiting your own. Your mind drifts, picking up a historical fact you read somewhere a long time ago. The Japanese practiced forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, long before anyone in the West coined the term mindfulness. It wasn't exercise, and it wasn't therapy, it was simply immersing the senses in subtle natural stimuli to restore equilibrium. Lying here tonight, free from your phone, your room becomes your tiny forest. You don't need leaves or birdsong. Your awareness is absorbing the quiet details that have always been present but ignored. Your own private sensory forest. You shift slightly, letting the blanket slide over your shoulders. The weight is comforting, grounding. Your breath deepens in rhythm with your heartbeat, slow and steady. Each inhale feels like it is pulling in clarity, and each exhale like it's letting go of the overstimulation that had accumulated over weeks, months, years. A quirky detail comes to mind. Did you know that wombats produce cube-shaped poop? Yes, cube-shaped. Your brain catches this detail now with calm amusement, the kind that tickles softly rather than shouting, "Look at this." It reminds you how delightfully weird the world is, and that you don't have to consume an endless stream of notifications to appreciate it. Your senses continue to awaken gently. You notice the faint scent of the room, a combination of fabric softener on your sheets, the lingering smell of last night's tea, and the subtle metallic hint of the mattress spring. You inhale, and it is grounding, almost nostalgic, familiar in a way that makes your chest feel warm. You exhale, softening into the mattress. Your auditory awareness sharpens in tandem. You can hear your own heartbeat if you concentrate, but it doesn't feel alarming or loud. Instead, it feels steady, like a metronome keeping the rhythm for your slow, unfolding awareness. You hear the quiet hum of electricity from the fan, the faint creak of the floorboards as the house settles for the night. These aren't distractions, they are comforting, evidence of life moving gently around you. As your senses wake fully, your mind wanders into thoughts of memory and perception. Scholars still argue whether removing constant digital stimuli allows the brain to reset itself, or if it's merely rediscovering its capacity to prioritize subtle signals that it had long ignored. Either way, your experience is undeniable. The world has texture, depth, and sound that existed long before your phone arrived, and now you can perceive it again. You rest one hand on the blanket, noticing how the weight and texture feel simultaneously soft and firm. Your fingers flex slowly, curling slightly into the fabric as if to test its reality. It is real, tangible, present. The simple act of touch becomes almost meditative, a quiet ceremony in itself. Your visual awareness, even with your eyes closed, expands. You imagine the room, the walls, the bed, the fan, the moonlight spilling through a tiny crack in the curtains. The shapes feel more concrete than they did earlier tonight, even without direct visual confirmation. Your brain fills in the details with the richness that overstimulation and screens had once dulled. You feel like you are really inhabiting your space for the first time in weeks. You let your thoughts wander further, softly, lazily, without pushing them or pulling them. They move in arcs like a gentle tide. A faint memory of a friend's laughter, warm and soft. A recollection of a smell that reminds you of childhood. A vague idea of a project you'll start tomorrow, but without stress or urgency. A dreamlike notion of comfort and warmth expanding in your chest. You smile faintly, realizing how little pressure there is in these thoughts tonight. Your mind doesn't demand productivity. It doesn't demand engagement. It doesn't demand that you scroll, respond, or react. It simply exists, soft, observant, and fully present. Another breath flows through you, slow and warm. You notice the weight of your chest rising and falling. You notice how each inhale seems to bring in calm, and each exhale releases tension that had accumulated for far too long. The room, the blankets, the quiet, the subtle symphony of the present moment, is almost overwhelming in its gentle perfection. You shift slightly, letting one leg stretch under the blanket. Even this movement feels satisfying, a small act of agency that reconnects you with your body. Your senses, mind, and emotions seem to converge, forming a quiet trinity that radiates calm through every fiber of you. A historical curiosity drifts into your thoughts. In early Rome, people believed that night itself had healing properties, that darkness encouraged mental and emotional restoration. They would dim lamps, close windows, and let the stillness work on them naturally. You smile to yourself because tonight, in the quiet, you are experiencing a similar restoration. No lamps, no screens, just the calm, attentive awareness of your senses. Your awareness expands further. Tiny sounds, previously invisible, become part of a gentle rhythm. The distant hum of traffic, a bird settling in a faraway tree, the creak of the house's old timbers. They don't disturb you. They accompany you. They are part of the tapestry of calm that blankets you as thoroughly as your comforter does. Finally, your mind drifts to the concept of presence itself. Scholars still debate whether presence can be taught or whether it is simply a natural state that emerges when distractions are removed. You don't need the answer tonight. You feel it in your chest, your limbs, your fingertips, and the air brushing your face. You are present. Fully, deeply, subtly, wonderfully present. You breathe again, each inhale filling your lungs like a gentle tide, each exhale releasing tension and overstimulation like soft sand slipping from your hands. The rhythmic awareness flows through your body, senses, and mind simultaneously, leaving you light, grounded, and centered. And for the first time tonight, you feel the profound beauty of simply noticing, without need, without pressure, without a phone in your hand. The sensory awareness you've been cultivating begins to ripple into something even deeper. Your dreams themselves seem closer, more accessible, more vivid. You notice this almost imperceptibly at first. A gentle hum behind your closed eyes, like the universe is lightly humming along with your heartbeat. Not intrusive, not demanding, but inviting. Your mind softens, settling into that strange, liminal space between wakefulness and sleep. It starts with colors. Not the glaring, oversaturated colors of your phone or computer screen. Not the neon hues that scream for attention. But soft, layered, nuanced shades that drift and mingle like watercolors on a canvas. Pale blues and muted ochres swirl in the corners of your vision, moving slowly, almost lazily, as if they know they have all night. You notice the shapes accompanying them, gentle curves, soft angles, patterns that feel like they might mean something, or maybe nothing at all. You don't need meaning yet, you simply observe. Your breath deepens. Each exhale releases tension that has been sitting in your shoulders, your jaw, your belly for days. You can almost hear it leaving. Soft, quiet, invisible, and the release makes space for something new, a subtle opening for dreams. Not yet sleep proper, but the kind of hypnagogic drift where imagination begins to stretch its legs, a little playground just for you. A quirky detail floats into your half-dreaming mind. Octopuses have 3 hearts, and 2 of them stop beating when they swim. The thought drifts like a feather, completely unimportant, completely fascinating. Your brain, freed from constant notifications, has the bandwidth to notice the oddities of the world. The fact makes you smile softly, a warm twitch behind your lips, and your eyelids flutter in acknowledgement. You didn't realize that your attention was capable of carrying little amusements like this when unburdened. Your body melts further into the mattress. Each muscle sighs, releasing the last bits of tension. Your fingers relax completely. Your toes curl and uncurl in tiny, unconscious movements. The blankets feel like gentle, protective arms, hugging your form in a way that seems exaggeratedly tender, yet comforting in its intimacy. You think about how rarely you experience touch in a fully aware, present sense, and it makes you quietly grateful for this cocooned warmth. You notice the faintest sounds around you, the distant rumble of a car, a neighbor's soft movement, the fan's low hum. You don't filter them out. Instead, you welcome them into your awareness. They become part of your personal soundscape, a soft ambient layer in your half-dreaming state. Your mind holds them effortlessly, balancing the sounds with your internal rhythm. The ability to attend to subtle cues without distraction feels almost luxurious. Your attention drifts inward, and with it comes a strange clarity. You've begun reclaiming your sleep cycle. Historically, humans slept in 2 main blocks, a long sleep after sunset and a shorter nap after midday. Scholars still debate whether modern monophasic sleep is unnatural, but tonight, lying here without a phone, without artificial light, without the constant pull of notifications, you feel a little like those early sleepers. Your body is remembering its natural inclinations. You are entering the gentle flow of the night, following an ancient rhythm that existed long before screens. Your mind moves into that liminal space where ideas are more dreamlike than logical. Shapes, colors, and soft images float by. You feel your imagination stir without effort. No pressure, no performance. Just the soft, fluid emergence of mental imagery, as if the neurons themselves are stretching after a long period of inactivity. It's mesmerizing to watch. The warmth in your chest, the softness of the blankets, the gentle rhythm of your breathing, they all combine into a gentle lull. You notice a sensation you had almost forgotten. The slow, satisfying tickle of your hair brushing against your skin, your scalp, the back of your neck. The mundane becomes fascinating. Every subtle touch, every small vibration of the mattress or sheets, seems magnified. This heightened sensory awareness has extended into your dream threshold. Your thoughts meander, not forcibly, but naturally, as if drawn along soft currents. You remember small, unimportant things from the past week. A smile someone gave you, the taste of your morning coffee, the faint smell of rain on pavement. None of it demands attention. None of it causes stress. Your mind catalogs the sensory and emotional information with gentle curiosity. Your body continues to drift deeper. The sense of falling, of surrendering to gravity and comfort, begins to merge with your imagination. You almost feel weightless. Not floating in the air, not disconnected, but completely aligned with yourself. A state that feels unbroken, whole, and expansive. You notice the quiet elegance of your room again. The walls, the curtains, the soft glint of moonlight on the edge of a nightstand. These details, once ignored, now feel like part of a sacred backdrop, intentionally designed to support your descent into restfulness. You realize, softly, how much of your overstimulation came from missing these small but persistent cues of your environment. Another quirky thought surfaces. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists found edible honey in 3,000-year-old tombs. The absurd longevity of something so sweet strikes you with mild amusement, and you feel a ripple of soft laughter inside your chest. Not loud or intrusive, just a warm, internal acknowledgement of how delightfully strange life can be when your mind isn't being pulled apart. Your senses, your body, and your imagination now move in a unified rhythm. Each inhale is like a tide pulling clarity and calm into you. Each exhale releases unnecessary mental clutter, habitual worry, and overstimulation. You feel this rhythm like a quiet dance, smooth and continuous, flowing effortlessly through your chest, arms, legs, and finally to your toes and fingertips. Your imagination stirs further, bringing images that are neither fully dreamed nor fully awake. The borders blur deliciously. You sense textures, colors, shapes, faint sounds, and subtle smells coalescing into something soft and fluid. Your mind stretches without strain. You feel a renewed creativity beginning to bubble in that half-conscious space, one that hasn't been corrupted by constant digital noise. And slowly, your eyelids grow heavier. The images linger behind them. The colors remain soft but persistent. The gentle warmth of the blankets, the room, and your body cradle you as your awareness begins to dissolve gradually into the threshold of sleep. There's no rush, no pressure, just the soft, inevitable drift, and your body and mind follow it willingly. You exhale one last long, slow breath, releasing the last fraction of tension from the day. Your body relaxes fully. Your mind hovers in that delicate liminal space where consciousness and sleep meet. Your heart beats in sync with the quiet rhythm of the night, and your awareness feels suspended yet supported. You are finally free of distractions. You are finally attuned to your own senses. You are finally aligned with your natural rhythms. And in that quiet, your dreams begin to approach, soft and inviting. Your body is sinking deeper now, every inch of you dissolving into the softness of the mattress, blankets folding around you like a gentle tide. You notice how natural it feels to just exist. No phone buzzing, no constant reminders, no digital sirens pulling at your focus. Tonight, the world outside is irrelevant. All that matters is this small, quiet cocoon of warmth and presence. You feel a soft stirring in your mind, like the first hints of dawn peeking over the horizon. Not light, not energy, just the gentle emergence of mental clarity and self-awareness. You've never appreciated this before. How profound it is to be fully conscious of the subtle edges of reality without distraction. Your body responds by releasing tension you didn't even realize was still there, and your muscles sigh with a slow, satisfying release. A historical fact drifts through your half-conscious mind. Medieval monasteries kept strict sleep and wake cycles, guided by bells and natural light. Monks would rise and sleep in alignment with the sun, uninterrupted by distractions or noise. Scholars still argue whether this strict rhythm actually enhanced their spiritual clarity or was simply a practical necessity, but lying here tonight, you feel a faint echo of that ancient order coursing through you. There's a slow satisfaction in this alignment, as though your body, freed from the tyranny of notifications, has reclaimed a rhythm that belongs to it. Your senses expand further into the quiet of the night. You notice the warmth of the blankets on your arms, the subtle pressure of the pillow under your head, the gentle hum of the fan. Every detail is amplified yet soft, as if your perception has tuned itself to a new frequency of awareness. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. A dust mote drifting lazily in the moonlight, the faint squeak of a floorboard somewhere, the comforting rhythm of your own steady breathing. And then, a quirky detail surfaces. Flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without tipping over because of a special locking mechanism in their legs. You imagine yourself, slightly ridiculous but perfectly stable, balancing between wakefulness and sleep with equal grace. Your mind chuckles softly, a private, warm amusement that drifts lazily across your consciousness. The room itself seems to acknowledge your presence. The darkness doesn't feel empty, it feels alive, protective, and comforting. The shadows stretch softly across the walls, forming gentle patterns that soothe your awareness. Your internal rhythm hums in harmony with these subtle cues, the rise and fall of your chest, the slow ebb of your thoughts, the delicate shift of your body on the mattress. Every motion, every breath is slow, considered, and in tune with the natural flow of the night. You feel the first inklings of sleep as a soft pull at the edges of your awareness. Thoughts become less rigid, more fluid, flowing in gentle arcs like a river meandering lazily through a valley. Your mind flits briefly to random memories, long forgotten smells, a smile exchanged weeks ago, all of them now coated with a serene warmth. You let them pass without attachment, savoring their quiet presence. Your body moves instinctively, curling just slightly into the blankets, allowing the natural weight to settle over you fully. Your arms rest gently at your sides. Your legs stretch just enough for comfort. Your spine feels cradled by the mattress. The warmth and soft pressure of the blankets align with your body perfectly. It's a subtle, exquisite balance that you've rarely noticed until now. A scholarly debate drifts across your half-dreaming thoughts. Is the restorative power of sleep biological, psychological, or both? Scholars still argue whether the mind repairs itself during the unconscious state or whether the body's physiological processes are primary. You feel both tonight, the intertwined restoration of body and mind, undeniable in its simplicity. You inhale deeply, absorbing the calm, and exhale with complete release. The gentle darkness becomes a canvas for imagination. Soft images drift lazily behind your closed eyelids. A horizon lit by pale moonlight, a gentle stream reflecting stars, clouds moving with infinite patience. Nothing is pressing, nothing is urgent. Each image is soft, fluid, fleeting, yet comforting in its quiet beauty. Your mind moves in a kind of slow-motion choreography, observing, feeling, and resting simultaneously. Your awareness of your body deepens even further. You feel your toes relax completely, each one surrendering to gravity and softness. Your fingers uncurl subtly. Your jaw loosens. Your eyes, behind closed lids, feel heavy yet buoyant, almost floating. You are fully attuned to your own internal cues, the natural ebb and flow of warmth, pressure, and breath. You smile softly, internally amused at how completely different this night feels. The absence of your phone, the quiet absence of constant stimulation, has opened a door you didn't know existed. Your nervous system, previously tense and reactive, now drifts on calm currents. Your mind is no longer racing to keep up with an endless stream of information. It is free, spacious, and kind. A historical aside passes gently through your thoughts. In ancient Egypt, sleep was considered a time for divine dreams, where the subconscious could communicate with the gods. Dreams were recorded, studied, and interpreted carefully. Lying here, free from screens and notifications, you almost feel that ancient reverence. Your mind, open and attentive, is poised to drift into dreams that might carry subtle insight or quiet reflection, without pressure or judgment. A final quirky note flits through your half-conscious. Amusement. Wombats' cube-shaped droppings are an evolutionary adaptation to mark territory without rolling away. Your brain, now enjoying the freedom to consider oddities without distraction, finds this oddly comforting. Even the world's quirks feel softer and more whimsical in this calm, dimly lit space. Your breathing slows further, now perfectly synchronized with the soft hum of the night. Every inhale carries warmth and calm. Every exhale releases any lingering tension, any fragment of distraction or doubt. Your heart beats a gentle, steady rhythm, reinforcing the alignment of your body, mind, and surroundings. You begin to drift fully into sleep now. Not abruptly, not forcefully, not anxiously, but slowly, deliberately, naturally. Your mind relaxes into the soft patterns of imagination, awareness softening further, merging with the warmth and softness of your body. Each second feels expansive, like a small eternity where nothing matters except the gentle sensation of being alive and resting. You are fully present, fully relaxed, and fully immersed in the quiet sanctuary of your own senses. Your body, your mind, and even your imagination harmonize in a seamless, gentle lull that promises rest, clarity, and restoration. The absence of your phone has revealed a world of sensation, calm, and quiet that you had almost forgotten existed. You feel safe, warm, whole. The night cradles you completely. The warmth of the blankets, the subtle hum of the fan, and the gentle rhythm of your breathing all weave together into a cocoon of calm. Your body feels as if it's melting slowly into the mattress, each curve and contour embraced by softness. You notice the small sensations, the weight of the pillow under your head, the fabric brushing your arms, the slow pulse in your wrists, and each one whispers reassurance. You are safe. You are held. You are exactly where you need to be. Your mind drifts without effort. No urgency, no racing thoughts. Images float lazily behind your closed eyes. A faint shimmer of moonlight, clouds drifting across a quiet sky, leaves rustling in a breeze you can almost feel. The room around you seems to fade, replaced by the gentle rhythm of your own body, your own breath, your own heartbeat. It's a sanctuary of stillness, a private world where nothing exists except this soft present. You feel the tension of the day dissolve completely. Every worry, every small annoyance, every nagging thought slides quietly out of reach. Your muscles are loose, your chest rises and falls with ease, and your mind moves in the gentle, fluid pace of your own internal rhythm. Even your imagination drifts freely, playful yet peaceful, exploring shapes, colors, and fleeting thoughts that bring only calm and curiosity. Allow yourself to linger here a little longer. Breathe slowly. Feel the warmth of the blankets, the steady support of your bed, the soft hum of the night. Let everything else fall away. There is nothing you need to do. Nothing to check. Nothing to achieve. Just this, soft, gentle, and restful. The night embraces you fully, and you feel a whisper of quiet gratitude for this calm, for this space, for this pause. Slowly, naturally, sleep begins to carry you forward, and you surrender willingly, wrapped in comfort, warmth, and serenity. End of script. Sweet dreams.